So this is a wisdom and a YouTuber. Social media is in truth the perfect mirror. It really is. It instead of it being bad, negative, some nefarious force that appears to be holding us back, just some bad thing, ultimately, right? That's kind of what comes up. It is a perfect mirror for your mind, like everything, like the world. That's all the world is. It's a mirror for your mind. And this is going to be a really tough point for a lot of people to accept because of the ego. The ego says, no, social media is evil. No, it is bad. No, it's been really poisonous and damaging for our youth, for our kids. How about all these kids that have grown up with social media as being a thing from when they were now, obviously, and for kids who are even older than that, infants to that they're using it, but to this point when they're in their teens, and the ego will project blame to try to survive as a victim. But social media reflects back to you your mind. It is the perfect mirror. And this is such an incredibly freeing concept when you think about it. Imagine how peaceful you will become when you stop blaming social media and start owning the fact that it's mirroring your shadow back to you. And by your shadow, it's an illusion, but it's mirroring your hate, your self-loathing. Whatever you see in it is not them. It's you. It's not social media. It's you. It's not the politician. It's you. It's not the annoying friends. It's you. It's your mind. I'm saying it's you, but it's your mind. And think of how playful and light and fun and enjoyable and liberating and peaceful life will become. And it is there already, but just in your mind as you forgive and unfold. When you learn to look at a social media site, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the new villain, TikTok, the new villain on the block, TikTok, right? When instead of blaming and projecting your mental stuff onto TikTok, you decide, you choose to say, this is a mirror reflecting my mind back to me. Then you're free of it. Then it's not a problem anymore. Then you don't have to use it, or you could use it solely to express love, to lift people up, to be helpful. Like, look at this YouTube video right now. I'm using it to express love. Look at this wisdom chat right now. I'm on live on both channels. I'm using it to express love, to uplift, to help, to share a perspective that could help expand your awareness. You could step out of the nightmare of social media, quote unquote, and realize that it's a nightmare in your conscious and unconscious mind that's reflecting back to you. That's love. But I could use this YouTube live and this wisdom live, although it probably wouldn't fly for too much of a long time on wisdom because it's a higher energy deal there. But I could use it to cause problems and start fights. It's just neutral. Social media is just neutral. It's just reflecting back to you what you're tuning into. And the reason for this is because there's no separation. We're all one. We are connected as one. So when you see something in someone that you hate, you are one with that person. You're not separate from them. You're with them together, one. So since you're one with them, you are seeing a mirror, and that mirror is reflecting back to you what you hate about yourself or whatever. It's like this way across the board. Social media is an exquisite mirror. Politics, exquisite mirror. I mean, the whole world is. Laws, phenomenal mirror. Politicians, great mirror. The news, fabulous mirror. They're all mirrors. There's nothing that's not a mirror. It's all a mirror. It's just the world is acting out your beliefs. It's acting out your mind. That's it. Think of how peaceful, think of how fun, how playful you will become when there's no more enemies, there's no more victims, there's no more rage. I mean, yeah, you're going to step into those feelings. And when you despise and hate a person, when you initially step into the, wow, I really hate myself, yeah, it probably won't feel great, but that's okay because that's part of letting it go, forgiving it out of your mind so you feel better and better and more playful. So if you despise TikTok now, or TikTok, whatever the kids call it, or adults, there's something about you that you despise because TikTok is mirroring your self-loathing back to you. Begin now in your mind exploring that self-loathing to release it so it's not there. So you love yourself. And so you feel really good. It could be actually a really quick process. It's usually not because we fight it. The ego fights it. The ego is insane. That's ego. No, it's definitely TikTok. And, the Chinese are trying to take over our country through this medium. No, they're not. You have something in your mind that site is reflecting back to you. That is reflecting that belief back to you. It's just neutral. You and the Chinese are one. You and Americans, you and everything. It's just all one presence. You and TikTok, you and social media. It's not social media, it's you. And it's not even you, it's just your mind. Think of how liberating this concept is. Wow. Most people don't get Twitter because Twitter mirrors their rage back to them. It mirrors their self-judgment. It mirrors just all these nightmares that are in their mind. They're one with Twitter, and then Twitter mirrors it back. So people hate it because they hate themselves. They hate aspects of themselves. It's nothing to do with Twitter. I use Twitter to help bloggers and indirectly drive traffic in business and have fun and to spread love. So it's a phenomenal platform for me. I don't see all that chaos and that maelstrom and the hate and the rage on Twitter because that's not my intent. These are just neutral platforms. But if you just hop on and you have a lot of shit in your mind, you have a lot of fear manifest as guilt and grief and pain and rage, Twitter is no different than when you get up in the morning and you look in a mirror to see how your face is looking or your body, as if either of these existed. But anyway, that's for another chat. But when you look in the mirror, you appear to see yourself. Appear. I mean, it's an illusion, but Twitter is that mirror. So if you see chaos on the site, you have chaos in your mind. If you see people fighting on the site, you're fighting with yourself in your mind. If you see wars on the site, wars in Ukraine, war here, what appears to be a budding war, you're at war with yourself. It's a mirror. I'm a mirror. If you see on YouTube, or you can't see me on Wisdom, an ugly old guy, you think you're ugly and old. It has nothing to do with me. I'm literally a mirror reflecting back to you what you believe about yourself. If you see a handsome, muscular guy, then you've seen the truth. Haha, I'm just joking. You see, and on YouTube, I'm just joking, guys, because I'm putting my arms out a little bit. Got some muscles here for a seemingly 47-year-old meat suit. Pretty muscular guy, keep in shape. Hiked 14 miles the other day. Yesterday I hiked a mountain that was hiked by both Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's like 8 minutes from here in the Berkshires, where we're house sitting for 10 days, under 10 days. It was awesome, actually beautiful. And I saw that yesterday, but I hit in this mountain, torrential downpours, moderate rain, heavy rainfall, only person on the trailhead. Just me, 2.5 hours, no other humans. I did see some interesting prints. No, not Bigfoot, although he's been sighted. Sasquatch has been sighted there many times. But my point is, as I'm talking about this exercise, being in decent shape with some muscles here and there, is literally if you see in me whatever you see in me, good looking, whatever you think, ugly, in shape, not in shape, gray hair, brown hair, not even pay attention to the hair. It's what you see in yourself. And I think one of the reasons why when I meet people, and my wife Kelly jokes around, and I'm just clearer on it than most people because I've faced a lot of self-conscious fear over the years in my mind. A lot of folks won't notice that, okay, at the top I'm working with some brown, but they won't even notice, let alone mention that my hair is white on the side and the back. They just don't tune into it. But the people that think they're old, and I've noticed that too. I've had relatives that really dialed in on it, and they were folks that were really, had in their mind and their body were not in really bad shape. It just was what it was. But they would always tune into that. Oh man, I remember when you were heavy, or not that I ever really was, but in their mind I was. Oh man, that white hair, and they saw it wasn't in me. They saw themselves reflected back to them. And I never took it personally, even back then when I wasn't training my mind as much, because I was clear on that. Okay, I don't care about gray hair. I don't care about brown hair. And I know that I'm in shape. And I was never fat. This is a little bit of sidetrack, but then it's not, because it's constantly, endlessly a mirror. And I'm learning this and I'm applying it more. And social is such a brilliantly perfect mirror, because the ego says it's social. And I'm saying, no, it's not social. It's your mind. This is how you become so peaceful and so serene. Imagine if you don't feel threatened by an inanimate website. Imagine if you don't feel threatened by a neutral site owner. Or if you don't see a war or madness or cancel culture, any of this other stuff. Like Twitter's just neutral. You're just seeing what's being acted out for you, for your mind. If you see it, it's in your mind. It's mirroring it back to you. Now, if you want to be miserable and you really want to hate yourself and you want to be full of rage, act like it's not a mirror, and act like you're a victim to it, and act like it's them and not you. And then you'll see the world. And this is why in the Course, Jesus always talks about the world, always, but he mentions the world is an impossible situation. Like you'll never get an answer. Yesterday, we were house sitting. The homeowner, just through the mail, received something about the elections, and I'm seeing on media, social media, whatever, did you vote? Did you vote? And that's an example of an impossible situation, because if you're clear in your mind, if your mind is strong, if it's trained, if you're aware, if you're willing to look at that whole world and the farce that it is, you see that over hundreds of years through government and politics, we don't go anywhere. And through elections, we don't go anywhere. Notice how it's like, and you have to look at it. See, if you think it's not, if you think that there's no reflection, if you think really that we're going somewhere based on this idea of control and manipulation and all that jazz. Ooh, big hawk coming in, probably coming after the pigeons. You haven't seen yet that it's impossible and that we're not. If you think that social media is the culprit and it's not a mirror, if you think politicians are the culprit or the saviors and not mirrors, if you think a man-made law is a culprit or is your savior, you don't see the impossibility. You're not seeing it's all mirrored back to you. And when you see the mirror effect, even though it stings the ego, which is an asshole anyway, after that stinging, you see like, wow, this really is the key to peace. Because then you're not going to have any more problems and you're not going to get upset. I mean, it takes a lot of mind training, but predominantly I'm talking about. And you see why enlightened beings like Buddha basically saying, I am the dreamer of the dream. I'm dreaming this all. That's it. We're all one. And anything in the world, again, in the Course, Jesus saying it's an impossible situation. I mean, think about the body you're in, allegedly, and it's an illusion, but believing that you are a body, it's impossible. And the reason why it's impossible is You're going to put the body aside, and the world calls that death. That seems like when you're born into death in this world, you notice why babies are screaming. Are babies born smiling and giggling? No. When everything's symbolic, when you see it's just symbolic, why are babies always screaming? Because the ego chose to come here, and it's not what you think it is. And we're even more backwards if the mind doesn't see this mirror effect and doesn't realize that it isn't what it think it is, what the ego thinks it is. There's depression and death and grieving and anger and rage and hopelessness, and it's all impossible until you start seeing the mirror effect. And then you're liberated progressively. And then as you're progressively liberated, you feel really good and you get to teach other people. And I'm just new on this journey like you guys, just starting out, beginner, training my mind. But part of the learning, as far as accelerating the learning, is teaching. And that's why I learn and teach. I learn and teach. I learn and teach. That's the way that it's done. Because as you teach, you learn it even more quickly and you embody it and you practice it. So me saying this to you right now, doing this Twitter, YouTube live, and this wisdom chat, when I teach it, I'm so much more likely to remember that if there's even a part of me on Twitter, which I've pretty much conquered, quote unquote, from this mindset of being the perfect mirror, even if there's a part of me that says, oh, and there really isn't, because I've not only been on the site, but I've been using it from this real high energy intent for such a long time now, for 2009. So for 13 years, I've been using it predominantly from a high energy intent. And I just, even before I got into mind training, I'm just like, people don't get Twitter, or they hate it because they're using it for hate and distraction. Well, of course it's going to be a nightmare. You're using it to distract yourself. What direction do you think it's going to go in? Anything, any distraction, are you coming at Twitter from an intent of love and peace and enlightenment and calm and serenity and uplifting when you're using it to distract yourself? No, distractions are fear. There's fear. I had to distract myself. There's something I'm so terrified to face in my mind. Let me get on this site. Or, you know what? Let me get on this site and see these jerk cancel culture types. Or let me get on this site and see these people that are attacking these jerks that are attacking the cancel culture. All those words, all that hate, it's in your mind. And Twitter is the mirror. When you look at Twitter, it is identical. It is not like. It is identical to walking into a bathroom in the morning and looking at a mirror and saying, oh, I see myself. Except on Twitter, it's like, oh, I see my mind. Ditto for Facebook. And if you blame them, and goodness knows, been there, done that, and I have to be vigilant. But I've done it before. But Facebook, with Instagram, with TikTok, these sites are reflecting back to you, their mirrors reflecting back to you the state of your mind. And the more you own that, then the sites aren't the enemy anymore. And they're not evil or bad. You might even use these websites with these billions to hundreds of millions of users, use them to spread love and to uplift and to support and to inspire and to expand collective consciousness or the collective awareness. You might use Twitter to do that. You might use wisdom to do that. You might use YouTube to do that. When you learn in your mind that it's only a mirror, and any of that really low energy stuff was just your shadow, your fear, your guilt being reflected back to you, for your mind. Now, if you don't own that, that's cool. You don't have to. You do whatever you want. We have free will. But your life will be a nightmare, especially through these sites. And you'll keep going through the concept of self-punishment and guilt and just self-loathing. You'll keep going back to these sites and getting enraged. Or you'll block a site and be like, that site is the worst thing in the world. And that's okay, too, to block it. Yet as long as, even if you're blocking it, as long as it's still a nightmare and the worst thing in the world, you're harboring rage and self-hate. Guys, this is not this stuff seems radical. The whole world's insane. You're this infinite being with this mind that's just The whole world's just an expression of your unconscious mind, being played out, and your conscious mind. Think of the incredible peace of mind that you will cultivate when you learn that and you embody it and you understand it. No more problems, no more fear, no more anger. It's just, oh yeah, this is all just unfolding for my mind, for forgiveness, for letting go. And no matter what happens, and no matter what the site owner does, no matter what goes on, you come across. One of the cool things about Twitter is that when you get really clear with it and you face your fears and you see that reflection in your mind and you forgive it, then you could use it if you so choose, if you're intuitively pulled to do it, to publish these inspirational, short, sweet updates to uplift the world and to help people and to make friends. And the more you use it for that high energy folks, quote unquote, and they're all reflecting your unconscious mind back to you in your conscious mind, but these folks will start following you and you'll engage them and you're like, holy crow, I thought this was an evil thing. It's the crazy sight until I realized it was a mirror. And then when I cleared the fear and the guilt and the grief in my mind, I felt it and cleared it. Then it's like I felt that intuitive pull to, let me use this Twitter to help people and to uplift and to bring us together for to the oneness we really are. I mean, we're all together. There's no separation. And then it's the phenomenal site, and you love it. And that's how I've been using Twitter predominantly for the past 13 years, and not evil to me. But if you use it to distract yourself, it's going to be a shit show. If you use it to fight and to judge and to condemn and to just enrage yourself, it's going to be a shit show. Not because it is, but because of the intent in your mind, because of the mirror effect that you don't want to own. And that goes for Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and every experience in your life, which is both completely liberating because it's true, and it's just the key to peace, and horrifying to the ego because then you don't get to be a victim anymore, and you don't get to blame and rage and vote and fight for law. That whole world, it's not possible. It will never work. It never has. There's been these temporary, like a little salve here and there in the world, just a little illusion. And then you see it's like taken apart. How can it work? It's doomed to fail. It's been made by the ego from fear, both illusions. How's it going to work? When you're caught up in it, but when you see it's symbolic and that you could forgive it, that you could let it go for your mind training, then what's going to bother you when you see it's all for your mind and you're not a victim? Nothing, no one. But it takes a lot of practice, and this is just a practical step because so many people bemoan social media, and I've done the same thing, and I still have to watch myself. TikTok, why are people paying all this money for these kids doing these seemingly stupid dances? No, it just is what it is. It's how the market is now. Well, maybe I'm not gonna, what is it? Is it jealousy, or is it something myself financially, my creativity? Oh, it's just a mirror somehow, some way. So let's forgive it. Oh, and TikTok's not the enemy. It just is a neutral site. It's just a mirror, like everything. And this one concept, guys, it will free you in ways you never could have imagined. It'll just feel so fun and playful. Hometown Plainfield, New Jersey. So fun and playful when you see it's all a mirror for you. That's the beauty for it. Along with everyone, along with every experience, along with every moment. It's all for your mind. What's going to feel bad then? What's going to be depressing? What's going to enrage you? Well, see, it's all in your mind. It's all being acted out. And the more you forgive it, then less and less stuff's going to annoy you and trigger you because it's not going to be in your mind. When it's not in your mind, that means you're coming organically from what you really are. Love, spirit, joy. That's all you are. That's going to be your life. And of course, following your intuition, listening to spirit as it guides you. as it guided me to create this video. So guys, and Wisdom Chat, thanks so much for joining. I'm going to roll. I think it's time for a nice hike. Beautiful day here in the Berkshires after a number of rainy, cloudy days. So I want to take some shots. Make sure you stop by bloggingparadise.com, guys. I got a number of really cool, dramatic sunset shots. Not even sunset, cloudy sunset shots. Very dramatic from the night prior. See you later, guys, on YouTube. I'm ending the stream. And